Extremely late.
Hey everybody, it's Adam here from One Man's Perspective. Glad to join everybody. Sorry I missed our Friday grab a beer and talk football, but hey, it's Saturday, so might as well just do it in and of itself. So we are grabbing a beer, talking football. It's 8 o'clock here in Denver, and right now we are about to grab a beer. This is from Stone Brewery. It's called Sublimely Self-Righteous Black IPA. I'm gonna crack that beer right now. Black IPA, Sublimely Self-Righteous. Grab a beer, talk football. Give me one sec, guys. Ooh, oh, that's so good. Wow. Okay. Anyway, guys, this past week has provided a ton of amazing football highlights and excitement. We had the Champions League first leg of the semifinals for both Real Madrid, Chelsea, and Manchester City, PSG. Also had the Europa League first legs of the semifinals with Roma and Manchester United, and Villarreal and Arsenal. Great games across the board. Lots of talking points, lots of ideas and excitement coming up for the second legs coming up this week or this coming week. All in, though, super excited about where we're at with football in Europe right now is awesome. There's so much to talk about. We're going to talk about Champions League today. We're going to talk about Europa League today. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the titles that are coming to conclusions in multiple countries across Europe. But yeah, let's just jump right in. Let's talk about the Champions League first leg, Real Madrid, Chelsea. Honestly, finished 1-1. I kind of expected it to be a draw in and of itself, just the balance of the teams, like the revolution under Thomas Tuchel with Chelsea, defensively, but also really getting the offensive minded players to finally gel and really get going. And again, Mason Mount, another phenomenal performance. Honestly, England's future looks really bright. Mason Mount, Phil Foden. You have just an array of talented players in the England setup, so that's exciting for them. And then Real Madrid. They're the old dogs in the competition. I really just don't know what to say about Real Madrid. They are a team that just doesn't give up. They're a team that loves the Champions League, never wants to lose the Champions League. That's like their baby. And they put all their effort forth in that competition. And honestly, they're in another semifinal, on the verge of potentially being in another final, which would lead them to their 13th, Champions League if they win that. So honestly, yeah, the game itself, the tie itself was very balanced. Honestly, could have gone either way, in terms of a win, but I think a draw was a fair conclusion for that game. Honestly, I think obviously with the away goals rule, which we'll get into that debate at some other time on the whether that is a good or a bad thing, but currently, I would say the advantage obviously lies with Chelsea, but Real Madrid, you can never rule them out. They're a team that is resilient and again, have the experience in this team and the youth in this team with their drive to push through and make yet another final. So it's to me a very finely balanced tie. Still could go either way. I predicted Real Madrid going through when we did this grab a beer talk football. I think it was 2 weeks ago now. I'm sticking with that. I'm sticking with Real. I think they will pull it out and they'll be in another final. And it's kudos to them. Kudos to Zinedine Zidane, who's worked miracles with a team that he's gotten the best out of the sum of their parts. So. And then on to the other Champions League semifinal first leg, PSG Man City. I don't even know where you start. Essentially it was like a tale of two halves. The first half, PSG, I don't want to say dominated, but they were the dominant force, honestly, in that first half, and they deservedly went into the halftime with a 1-0 lead. Courtesy of yet another Angel Di Maria assist from a corner to Marquinhos, who was returning as captain. And came back from the side and scored a vital goal for them. I mean, to be perfectly honest, they could have scored 3 or more in the first half. Ederson came up with some great saves, some last dish defending, by Stones and Ruben Diaz. I mean, Kyle Walker as well. Yeah, I mean, first half was all PSG. Second half, all Manchester City. I mean, the PSG had a couple opportunities, like half chances, but Man City dominated that second half and deservedly, I think, came back and won that game with 2 away goals and now have, to me, a very firm advantage in the second leg coming up on Tuesday. Credit to Man City for not giving up, for essentially, pushing through like they've done all season, being patient and really just willing themselves to a win, And I mean, honestly, PSG, made some mistakes. I mean, let's be honest. The first goal from Kevin De Bruyne, which, I mean, to me, most complete midfielder in the world, total fluke. I mean, it was a cross, to the back post that snuck in. I mean, I don't want to. I mean, Keylor Navas is a phenomenal goalkeeper, and I don't want to put the blame on him. And I don't want to put the blame on his defenders either. I mean, that was a wicked cross, lots of curl on it. I think Navas essentially thought his defenders would, head it out. I think the defenders thought that Keylor Navas would come in and claim it. All in, it ended up being a crazy goal that Kevin De Bruyne scored from 35 yards out. That was a cross. And he was the first to acknowledge it. I mean, just he's like a bit lucky with that first goal, but got us back into the tie. I mean, he was honest as he always is in interviews. Second goal, I mean, kudos again to Kevin De Bruyne for relinquishing free kick duties to Riyad Mahrez, who also had a phenomenal game. And yeah, I mean, I really don't know what the wall was doing. I mean, that a wall is there to block things. Presnel Kimpembe and Leandro Paredes, who basically jumped and split and created the hole in which Riyad Mahrez shot through to score that second goal. I mean, maybe that's like a training thing. They just need to, put a little more training, more training on the training pitch, for that to actually be a cohesive wall as opposed to one that breaks apart and allows goals in. Don't know. Either way, Man City scored with 2, let's just say, lucky opportunities. That said, they still dominated the second half. They could have scored more goals than that if it wasn't for last-ditch defending, by Marquinhos and Kimpembe, as well as Alessandro Florenzi on loan from Roma, I believe. I mean, honestly, they defended well enough in the second half, but I mean, Manchester City could have scored multiple goals. I mean, it was all in all, it was a very exciting game to watch. And yeah, I'll be honest. Like I said in the Grab a Beers Talk Football a couple weeks ago, it'll be interesting to see how Kylian Mbappe and Neymar do up against Ruben Diaz and I assume John Stones, and that's who ended up being the center back partnership. And honestly, in the second half, the City backline, kept them pretty quiet. The first half, they were dangerous. I mean, honestly, like having watched the game, being a Man City fan, anytime Kylian Mbappe had the ball, I was like dead afraid, scared that he was going to score something. I mean, he's to me one of the most brilliant players in world football right now, and essentially will take over the mantle of world's best player once Messi and Ronaldo retire. I mean, honestly, he's already pretty much there, in my opinion. That said, I mean, honestly, like I said before, Real Madrid, Man City, those are my 2 picks for the Champions League final, and honestly, easily could be that based on first leg of the semifinal performances. So exciting times. Champions League second legs are this week, Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll see where everything plays out, but I'm excited for it. As we go into the second tier, I guess, of European knockout competitions, the Europa League, Man United, Roma. I mean, it was a strange game. I mean, let's just be perfectly honest. I mean, Roma deservedly went into halftime with a 2-1 lead. I mean, Man United, like they have so many times this season, stuttered in the first half, or looked really kind of discombobulated, very disconnected, disjointed. And honestly, yeah, Roma, were the better team in the first half. And then came the second half. Wow. Like, wow. I mean, yet again, a Man United comeback. I mean, they have made that like a part of their arsenal this year is the comeback win. I mean, they've done it so many times this year in the Premier League, but also in Europe. I mean, it's crazy second half. 5 unanswered goals. Edison Cavani and Bruno Fernandes were brilliant. I mean, brilliant. I mean, seriously, 6-2 final. I mean, Man United are in the Europa League final, period. I mean, like, it would take a meltdown of epic proportions, reminiscent of the PSG, Barcelona remontada, a few years back in the Champions League for them to not get through. So, to me, Man United in the Europa League final already. That's, they pretty much have, almost 2 feet in already. So that's, something that I had already said was going to happen, or predicted would happen. And then you get to the Villarreal Arsenal game. I mean, in this case, Unai Emery got one over on, his former, former team, in Arsenal, by winning the game 2-1. To me, it's kind of like, again, a finely balanced, semifinal. I mean, essentially, that away goal from Nicolas Pepe, with that penalty in like the 73rd minute. I mean, that really rescued Arsenal. Had they gone out of that game with a 2-0 scoreline, again, not something that couldn't be made up in the next leg in London, but 2-1. I mean, that makes it finally balanced. I mean, that's a tough game. I mean, honestly, Villarreal need to really bring it if they're gonna make it to the Europa League final. I still think Arsenal are gonna make it. I mean, I think they're gonna do it the hard way, like Arsenal is like to do all season. I mean, they're still not having a very good season in the Premier League, but I mean, they'll finish top half probably, which says a lot about their team and where they are, in terms of the transition, into hopefully a much better team under Mikel Arteta over the next few seasons, if he's actually given time by the Kroenke ownership. But yeah, I mean, I'm still going with Man United, Arsenal in the Europa League final. I'm going to go with Man United winning the Europa League. I mean, the way that they're playing right now, especially in the Europa League specifically, they want that. They want that, Europa League title. I mean, despite the fact that they're going to finish second place in the Premier League and guarantee Champions League football anyway, that will be yet another trophy in their cabinet. So, or at least in my opinion, I think Man United will win that, the Europa League. So, exciting games, honestly, all week, both the Champions League and the Europa League. I mean, there were some phenomenal games, and kudos to both Manchester clubs for playing great football. Well, at least Man City in the second half, as well as Man United. I mean, let's just talk about second half performances. I mean, Man City and Man United both. I mean, kudos to both of them. And then honestly, yeah, I mean, again, Real Madrid, and Arsenal. I mean, I think those are the other teams coming through. So we'll see how it plays out as this week progresses. On Thursday, I believe, is the rest of those semifinal second legs for the Europa League. So, pardon me, guys. Let's move on real quick. I mean, again, this week has just been a great week. I mean, honestly, the beginning of the week for Man City started off with them winning the League Cup over Tottenham. So essentially, Man City have one trophy in the bag. Potentially, if Liverpool beat Man United tomorrow in the Premier League, could have the Premier League in the bag tomorrow. I mean, that's a double for them already, which would be great for them. But as it goes on, in terms of the leagues around Europe, I mean, there are some great tight races, in multiple leagues. I mean, essentially, Man City has won the Premier League. I mean, that's a foregone conclusion. They need 3 points from the next 4 games. I mean, that's, come on, that's already in the bag. But then you've got today, Inter Milan winning, and essentially because of that, Juventus, who have won the last 9 Serie A titles, relinquishing their title today no matter what, because they're so far behind Inter that they have, with I believe 4 games remaining, don't have the capability of actually reaching the point total that Inter have already. So unless Atalanta loses tomorrow, or excuse me, I guess if Atalanta wins tomorrow, then Inter have not officially been crowned Serie A champions. But to me, it's again like Man City, already in the bag, and essentially just a matter of time. So congratulations to Inter Milan. They have had a resurgence under Antonio Conte, and congratulations to them for reaching the heights that I know that they've wanted to reach for quite a while. I believe this is their first title since 2010. I believe I could be wrong on that, but yeah. Kudos to them. Great team performance throughout the season, and honestly, they've been the most consistent, hands down. So good for them. But then you get into like the other leagues. I'm just going to pull this up real quick and look at the table for Spain, which is crazy right now. I mean, how tight it is. It's a 4-way race. I mean, people are talking, oh, Sevilla, they're on the edge. No, Sevilla are totally in the race. Right now, with 34 games played, both Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid are within 2 points of each other. Atletico Madrid have 76 points. Real Madrid have 74. Barcelona and Sevilla have both played a game less, could be on 74 and 73 points if they win their games in hand. And essentially that means you have a 4-way race, 3 points separating first to fourth place. That is the tightest it's been in a long time and could really go any direction. Atletico Madrid have been the most consistent throughout the season, but Real Madrid, Barcelona, and honestly Sevilla of the last 5 or 6 weeks have been just on point, keeping pace, and honestly, I'm excited to see where this title goes because let's just put it this way. Real Madrid basically got themselves back into the race and could defend their title, theoretically, if they pull off the win. Barcelona, if they don't win, will have gone 2 years without winning the title after winning so many titles over the last 10 years. Atletico Madrid, for them, I'm an Atletico Madrid fan. I love Diego Simeone, El Cholo. But they've only won one trophy or one title in the last 10 years, which was a great title back in 2014, I believe. And honestly, I'd love to see them win it. To kind of just take away the dominance of Real Madrid and Barcelona just for a minute, just for a little bit, just to say, you know what, there is another team in Spain. But then honestly, I have a huge respect for Sevilla. I mean, they're a phenomenal team. Lopetegui has done a great job there, honestly, like after being so cruelly dismissed by the Spain national team and Real Madrid for that matter. So honestly, like Sevilla are right in it, and I have a lot of respect for their team. They have a great team dynamic, and on top of that, like they have just a brilliant academy setup, and they know who they are as a team. They kind of remind me of Borussia Dortmund in that regard, So yeah, I mean, honestly, credit to them for sticking in the race, and honestly, it could go any direction. I'm excited to see where it ends up. We got 4 games left, pretty much for the teams in Spain, and honestly. This is probably the most exciting title race I've seen in multiple years. And then where do we go from here? We're going to go to France. France have, here, let me pull up France real quick. Their table is also crazy right now. Let's see where it's at. Hold on. France right now is, I want to say, a 3-way race, basically, with Lille, PSG, and Monaco. Although Lyon is right there too, and honestly, like that's exciting for them because I mean, Lyon has not been really in a race in the Ligue 1 for quite a while. So here, let me take a quick peek where we're at. But anyway, Honestly, France is exciting too. I mean, honestly, Lille have been kind of like the leaders all year. Monaco's kind of come out of nowhere in the last, again, similar to Sevilla in the last 6, 7 weeks, and basically have forced themselves into the discussion. PSG are. You'd be surprised. I'm surprised, honestly. I mean, like it's kind of like a foregone conclusion that they'll win every single season. The league in Ligue 1, but this year they've stuttered. Obviously bringing in Mauricio Pochettino, in the middle of the season, has kind of helped solidify their team. But I mean, they're also trying to, form their identity under Pochettino. So, basically, I think it could go any direction as well. I mean, here, let me pull up France real quick. So right now, and this is again super tight. With 35 games played, 3 games left, we've got Lille with 76 points, PSG with 75. Monaco and Lyon both have a game in hand. If Monaco win their game in hand, they're at 74 points. So basically 2 points separating Lille and Monaco in third. Lyon are at 67 points. So, essentially, if they win their game in hand, they're at 70 points. Very similar to Spain, 76 points to 70 points. It means 6 points separating with 3 games left. That's a tight race. I don't even know where we go here. Essentially, PSG have been the dominant force in France for many, many years. If they get knocked out by Man City in the semifinal, on Tuesday, they will focus all of their energy on the league, and to not lose that preeminence, that dominance they've had for so long. So, do they have the wherewithal, the gall, the togetherness to push through and get the title? I think they do, for sure. But Lille are surprising. They're a surprising team this year. Honestly, and Monaco for that matter. I think Lyon are honestly out of the race. They've been stuttered a little bit in the last few weeks, but they will finish in the top 4 without question. But to me, it's a 3-way race. I think PSG is going to win it just because they're dominant. They will focus on the league if they get knocked out of the Champions League. But Lille and Monaco, you have to give them credit for a phenomenal season. I'd love to see either of them win it. Monaco haven't won it since they won it with Kylian Mbappe, Bernardo Silva, Benjamin Mendy. That team was just stacked. And I remember when they knocked City out of the Champions League that year. It made me mad, but they deserved it. Honestly, they were a phenomenal team. So that was a phenomenal tie to watch. I think it finished 6-6 back in 2017. And the City got knocked out on away goals. That said, France, Spain, wow. Those are some great title races. And I'm excited to see where those end up, where those trophies end up. Then it gets to Germany, and it's, yet another title for, Bayern Munich. That's, again, a foregone conclusion. Leipzig have made it a good battle this year, and congrats to them for that. Fun team to watch. But yeah, it's going to go to Bayern Munich yet again, which kind of makes it kind of boring. The Bundesliga in that regard. That said, there's been some interesting managerial change-ups in the Bundesliga over the past week, some developments there. Julian Nagelsmann, 33-year-old coach of RB Leipzig, who I have an enormous amount of respect for, had actually hoped would be the successor to Pep Guardiola at Man City. Obviously, that's not going to happen right now. Has just been confirmed in this past week as the new coach of Bayern Munich starting next season, which is strategic by Bayern Munich. They're essentially, stripping their closest rival currently of their revolutionary, progressive, young, dynamic coach who basically sews all of their team together, with his tactical approach, his dynamism, his just brilliance, to be perfectly honest. So, that's smart on Bayern Munich. Typically, they steal the best players from the other teams, but in this case, they stole their coach. So we'll see how that goes. But I think Bayern Munich will be an even more difficult prospect next year under Julian Nagelsmann, who, again, will make their team purr even more than they already do. RB Leipzig, and again, kind of managerial merry-go-round here, appointed Jesse Marsch, American coach, only the third American coach ever, or to manage ever in the Bundesliga. So congrats to Jesse Marsch for that. But he comes over from RB Salzburg in Austria, who are essentially an affiliate, obviously, with RB Leipzig, both owned by Red Bull. Um, Again, smart, young, progressive, dynamic coach. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how they progress or maybe regress under Jesse Marsh. We'll see. I mean, I think they'll still be a great team. So yeah, I mean, that's it's interesting. I mean, and then having seen Jose Mourinho get the boot yet again, sacked yet again, right before the League Cup final with Manchester City this past week. There's been a lot of vacancy. The vacancy has created a lot of speculation on who's going to fill in for Mourinho. And honestly, right now, they were being linked with Erik ten Hag from Ajax, who I think actually would be a phenomenal coach for Tottenham. He totally turned them down straight up and re-signed with Ajax, and I think that's a good choice on his part, to be perfectly honest. They've been linked with Julian Nagelsmann before he signed for Bayern Munich, so he turned them down as well. I mean, essentially, I think the Spurs vacancy is kind of a tough one because you have to work with Daniel Levy, who is this stern, rigid, in my mind, kind of control freak who runs the board, runs roughshod over transfers. Essentially makes it difficult for managers to get what they want while they're there because he's so tight with the purse strings, so dominant in decision making. I don't know who they're going to bring in. I mean, honestly, like there are opportunities out there. I mean, Massimiliano Allegri, formerly from Juventus, is still a free agent. I think honestly he would be a great coach. I mean, he's got pedigree. He's a brilliant tactician. His style may not necessarily fit with Spurs, but honestly, he's a phenomenal coach. I mean, you could do a lot worse. Brendan Rodgers has also turned down the Spurs job. I mean, I don't see why he would want to leave Leicester in the first place to go to Spurs, but he turned them down. So essentially, that's three quality coaches who have turned down Spurs managerial vacancy right now. We'll see where it goes. I mean, honestly, there are good coaches out there that are still unemployed and ready to jump into the hot seat, the Spurs hot seat. But who knows? I mean, essentially, that to me will determine where Spurs will finish next year. Because if they have a coach that really brings them all together and creates a team dynamic there that has some tactical nude, then they could, honestly, they have the squad. They have a very capable squad. They could fight for the title or definitely Champions League football. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes, honestly. But God, yeah, this week, really week and a half since our last broadcast. It's been, I think, 2 weeks now. So many developments, so many fun things to hear. I mean, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, signed another 1-year deal with AC Milan, which how he's still going at 39, I don't even know. I mean, I'm 39, but man, that guy is just incredible, and he brings a sense of true drive to that team, which they need. So, yeah, I mean, honestly, this past 2 weeks has been brilliant for football. Lots of fun. Has made me even more excited than I already am about the end of the season. The run in this year. But yeah, it's been a great 2 weeks, and I can't wait to continue to talk more about it. Next week, hopefully on Friday, we're going to be having this discussion instead of Saturday. Sorry, guys, that we missed out yesterday. But yeah, next Friday, we will grab a beer. We will talk football. We will talk about the developments of the Champions League second leg of the semifinals and the Europa League second leg semifinals, and just discuss those crazy games, as I'm sure they will be, because they will be fun. You have some great teams playing, and they're all determined to get to the final of the Champions League and the Europa League. So we'll have some great discussions on Friday next week when we grab a beer, talk football. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Again, my name is Adam. This is One Man's Perspective. If you liked the rant that I just went on, you enjoyed the things we talked about, please subscribe. Please leave comments. Please just chat me up. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. I'd love to discuss other things as well. So please just let me know what you want to hear about, what you want to talk about. And again, thanks so much for tuning in. We appreciate you. Football is always great, and we're so excited about the end of the season. Looking forward to talking again. And again, guys, grabbing my beer, the Stone sublimely self-righteous black IPA, and enjoying my beer to this week while we talk football. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll talk to you next week. Have a great week, guys. Enjoy your football. See you soon.